All right, let's dive into Web3.
It's a hot topic, but honestly, it can feel like a bit of a maze out there, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to break down this guide that gives a really clear roadmap for getting started.
Okay.
And one of the things that jumped out at me was just how much it emphasizes community from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're talking Twitter or X, I guess we should say now, Discord, LinkedIn, even TikTok.
Mm.
It's like be everywhere all at once.
Right. And there's a good reason for that.
Yeah,
Web3 is all about collaborating and sharing ideas and finding your people, those who are passionate about the same things you are.
makes sense.
It's less about, just scrolling through social media and more like going to those networking events. You're building your Web3 identity.
Like that, building your Web3 identity.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, posting memes. You've got to be strategic about how you show up in these spaces.
Exactly. It has to be authentic, though. Like, genuinely engage in conversations, provide value to the community. That's how you get noticed, build a reputation. And that is huge, especially in such a decentralized space.
And speaking of decentralized, uh, the guide gets into blockchain, crypto, all that. For someone who's totally new to this,
Yeah.
what's the need to know?
You're going to see those terms everywhere in the Web3 world. Don't get too bogged down in all the technical stuff right away. Focus on how blockchain is actually used. So, like, think about dApps.
Yeah.
Yeah, decentralized applications.
Okay.
Basically, apps built on the blockchain, so no single entity controls them. And that's really at the heart of what Web3 is all about, transparency, giving users more control.
So really understanding the impact, not just the dictionary definition.
Exactly.
I like that.
Okay.
So this is where the guide surprised me a little bit. It recommends having a good laptop, design tools, even a VPN. It's like, am I joining a digital nomad community or getting into Web3?
Well, maybe a little of both. Web3 is super global, and having a solid tech setup is just essential because so much of the work is remote and collaborative. You might be designing for these dApps we were talking about, creating content for a DAO. Those are like decentralized organizations. You could be in virtual hackathons across time zones, all sorts.
That's so cool. Okay, it's all starting to come together now. So the guide also mentions this thing called the Web3 CV. It sounds kind of intimidating. Is that really that different from just having a normal resume?
It's definitely different. We're not just listing out your old jobs. It's more about highlighting projects you've contributed to, the skills you're bringing, really showcasing your grasp of the Web3 space. Think visually, add links to your work, get testimonials from people you've collaborated with.
So it's like a dynamic portfolio
Yeah,
tailored to the Web3 world.
exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So getting some work experience is also a big one on the list, but like, how do you even begin if everybody's asking for that experience to begin with?
It's all about taking initiative. Jump into those open source projects, join hackathons, even if you're creating your own small scale projects, just to build something tangible that demonstrates your skills. The guide actually mentioned communities like Mochi Circle. They're a great example of a place to find those opportunities when you're starting out.
Ah, so it's about getting your hands dirty, even if it starts small. Okay, I like that. And finally, it mentions this whole thing about having a link tree and getting reviews. Are those really make or break things in this Web3 world?
Think of it as like personal branding, but in a decentralized space, right? Your
Yeah.
link tree is your hub, makes it easy for people to find your work, potential collaborators, clients. And those reviews, those are like gold because it's coming from within the Web3 community itself. It builds social proof.
Right, right. It all comes back to building that Web3 identity we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's all connected. This has been seriously eye-opening. It's definitely more approachable than I thought going in, but it is clear that you have to be proactive. You have to be out there building your presence strategically.
You got it. And the exciting thing is Web3 is far from finished. There are always new trends, new tech popping up all the time. So stay curious, never stop learning, and honestly, don't be afraid to just try things out.
I love that advice. And on that note, we'll wrap up our Web3 deep dive for today.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. And until next time, keep exploring.